This programme has been in part funded by Visit Cornwall.
Welcome to another episode of the Cornwall channel here on Sky and streaming on YouTube. As always, my name is Shane Solomon.
My name's Mike Spinks, and here's what's coming up on today's show.
We visit Waterside and their head chef Sean as he prepares us a beef Wellington. We catch up with Malcolm Bell and look back on Cornwall on what 2019 has to offer. And we have a quick look back at some of the times we didn't get it quite right.
Our last episode tonight
Of this season. It's
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Another full pack show for you, as you can see. Heading up first, though, we're heading over to Waterside, catching up with their chef Sean, and he's going to cook us a beef Wellington. Missed out on this one. This was a good one.
I know. This is one I would have enjoyed.
Yeah. So take a look at this. Hello, we're here today at the Waterside Resort just outside of Bodmin, and I'm joined by the head chef Sean. How are you?
Hi there, I'm alright, you?
Yeah, I'm wonderful, really good. Looking forward to seeing what you guys are going to cook for us. What is it you're going to do?
Today we're going to do beef fillet Wellington.
Beef fillet Wellington.
Yes.
That sounds delicious. So.
Yeah, good.
Brilliant. So if you want to talk through, where do you start? What do you do first?
Well, first you've got to source your beef fillet, and you can pick this up at local supermarket, or to be honest, it's probably best to go to your local butcher.
So we got your beef. What do you do next?
First thing we do is a good amount of seasoning on this. So you're gonna need that, and that's gonna really help bring everything together at the end. Hot pan.
Just a little bit of oil in there.
Just a little bit of oil, yeah. We're gonna go in there. We're going to give it a really, really good hot sear.
Okay. So how long on each side?
It's one of these things that you should do by eye, really, because every pan's going to be a slightly different temperature, but you want to give it a good minute on each side, really, just so you get a really nice golden brown colour.
Okay. That's a nice browning colour on the top.
Yeah, that's it. So this is the most important bit for the steak, really, because when we wrap it in the pastry and we've got all the other moisture in there with it, you're effectively steaming it, so you need to get good sear on the outside of it, so you don't boil the meat on the inside.
So what would happen then if you just put raw meat in the inside of the pastry?
It would just come out grey, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. Grey, tough, and lifeless. Okay. At the end of it.
Brilliant. So it's been seared on all the sides.
Yeah,
What's
so
the next
all the
step?
side, all the way around. So now, quite important, we need to fridge it.
Okay, put it in the fridge, yeah?
Fridge it just to take the energy out of it, just so it stops the cooking process so far.
Okay.
Okay. And then now we need to roll out our pastry.
Okay. So what kind of pastry do you use?
Just using puff, and
pastry, okay.
yeah, you can get this from your local supermarket. Just roll. It's brilliant for everything, really.
So just a bit of flour on there as well sometimes?
Yeah, the pastry's quite heavily floured already, so we're quids in already. Really.
So realistically, from start to finish, if somebody wanted to cook this at home, how long do you reckon it would take them?
Prep time, I'd say probably about 45 minutes, and then cooking time, you want to allow, again, good 45 minutes cooking, really, with the 20 minutes at least in the oven, and then again 20 minutes just sat there resting.
So what are you doing now?
So now I'm going to cut a lattice, which is just to make it look pretty, basically.
Okay.
You can pick these up at any good cook store, really.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. On your high street.
Is there any way of doing it without having one of these, or is it?
Yes. It's quite painful. Cut strips of pastry, and then just overlap them around the meat, around the pastry. Sorry.
Okay.
Might just need to go in there and nick the bits that the pressure hasn't evenly done, so it opens out nicely.
So is this puff pastry as well?
Yeah, this is puff pastry as well, yeah. And I mean, and that in the fridge, just to firm the pastry up again, so when we roll it, it's a bit more malleable.
Brilliant. What's the next step, Sean?
Just laying down some cling film there for my ham.
Okay. So what kind of ham's this?
We're using Parma ham.
Okay. So again, you can just buy this in a supermarket. Yeah.
Pick this up anywhere really.
It's quite cheap as well, isn't it? It's not.
It's not. No, it's not that expensive, but it's not. It's not that cheap either, for the amount you get. Anyway, but we only need a little bit. So don't be too worried about too many cracks in the ham or anything like that.
Okay.
It's not. At this stage, it's not really a fine art. It's not going to affect the way the actual Wellington looks. This is there. Parma ham's quite salty, so this is going to add another layer of seasoning to the finished Wellington as well. So then we've got our mushroom duxelle.
So how do you make this?
So we get mushrooms, can be any mushrooms, butter mushrooms. To be honest, I normally use the trim from the outside of flat mushrooms when you peel them.
Yeah.
Sweat them down so there's no moisture left in them. And then I've added some duck livers to this just to make it into a nice paste.
Okay.
There's a bit garlic, thyme and rosemary in there as well. Salt and pepper, of course, just to taste.
So about just like a thin layer over the top?
You
Or do you want to keep it nice and thick?
you can be quite generous with this.
Okay.
Yeah. Get it over there. And this is where you get most of your flavour from as well. You know, this seasons the meat again. Yeah, I mean, it's an optional choice. You don't really need to put it in there, to be honest. It's just because the mushrooms end up being so dry.
Okay.
Just to get it to blend up in the food processor, you need something in there.
Yeah.
With a bit of moisture. Okay, there's that. So we want to cut it down this way here. So not like that.
Okay.
Against the grain of the meat. So we want to start wrapping it this way.
Okay.
So it's important that you work always that way. Don't turn it. Just keep it. We wrap it, put it on the tray that way, and then we know it's still facing in the same direction.
Okay.
Just peel that away from that cling film. Wrap that around the bottom.
Just wrap it around your hands.
Just wrap it around, mould it into shape.
So what's the next step after this, Sean?
So we got get the pastry out of the fridge so we can wrap the Wellington.
Cool.
Almost done. So we need, and we know
it's
we need.
always better to make it bigger than.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we'd probably end up trimming a bit off around here as well, just to make it nice and snug that it fits around. If you've got too much pastry wrapped around, especially at the bottom, pastry probably not going to cook for the actual Wellington anyway. So then we just check, see where we are, and then trim. See, we've got quite a lot left on there on the side as well.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're just going to nick up until just around the meat on the side here.
Okay.
And then again, then most of that down there as well. This is giving us, then we can close the sides there as well. So now we're going to egg wash.
Okay.
So just egg yolks. That will just stick the pastry together, and then when it cooks it will bake as one.
Okay.
Like that. Again, just on the sides. As you go, just close any holes as we go around as well. Wrap that around the bottom.
So you really just want to seal the hole for you. You don't want any holes at all?
No holes at all the way around the bottom, around the side. Use your hands to make the shape, and then it's still pointing in that way. We're going to cut it as well. Okay. And then we want to give it a good egg wash on the outside.
Yep.
All the way around.
This adds to the colour as well?
This adds to the colour, so you get that nice golden brown colour at the end. And obviously to stick our lattice on as well.
Okay.
So, first egg wash done. Get our lattice, just pull it apart a little bit as well. And then we just lay that over the top. And then just trim any excess bits of pastry off. And then again with another egg wash.
Okay. Looks really good.
Right, there we have it. It's ready for the oven.
Okay, so what kind of temperature would you cook this at?
So you want to stick it in a preheated oven about 220 degrees for the first 10 minutes, just to start cooking and sealing that the pastry off. And then you want to turn it down to about 180 just to finish it off. Depending on the size of the meat, this size anywhere between 16 to 20 minutes. Probably the best thing to do is, as you're cooking it, is to use a temperature probe.
Okay.
And you can look up the temperatures that you want to cook it to for well done, for rare. And, I generally cook them to 48 degrees.
Okay.
And then they sit there for 10-15 minutes. Cut the ends off to let the steam out, and then slice it, and then it will be, when you serve it, about 54 to 56 degrees, and that's pink.
So you would have enjoyed that because you love filming the food.
Love the food, really love the food, and a great dish, definitely one for you to try for New Year's Eve. We're flying through tonight's show, lots to pack in, so we're going to go for a quick ad break. We'll see you in a bit.
Are you missing calls? 75% of people don't like leaving answer phone messages. What opportunities could you be missing out on in your business? Fonetta Business offers a solution with its telephone answering service. Our dedicated business team answer your calls as your business and can text or email you straight away. From as little as £1 per call, can you afford to miss your next customer? Contact us to try our 14-day free trial now. Fonetta. Communication made easy.
With over 1,000 vehicles from 7 manufacturers, look no further than Hawkins. So whether it's practicality, comfort, space, or something special, we've got your perfect match. Hawkins, making it easy for you.
Since 1994, independent estate agent Jackie Stanley and her team have been looking after property owners and buyers from the Harbourside office in Padstow. Covering a whole of North Cornwall, it's important to Jackie that great care and attention is paid to all clients, and that herself and her staff go the extra mile to achieve satisfaction for her buyers and sellers alike. Honesty, integrity and discretion are key in our outstanding sales record. Visit Jackie Stanley online or pop in and see her in Padstow. Have you been to Bodmin Jail? Immerse yourself in the history and atmosphere of the former county prison. Spend the night in jail with our resident medium. Visit the tea room. Dine in the Governor's Hall and experience our fine cuisine, or why not sample our delicious Sunday lunch? So much going on. Wednesday ghost walks. Thursday scary cinema night. Friday and Saturday after dark experience. Weddings and daily heritage tours. Bodmin Jail. So much more than an attraction.
Need a drone? Or a smaller drone? Or a bigger drone? Or maybe a battery, memory card, bag or merch? Or whatever these are, to help you get shots like this. This, or even this.
Or you can even win £2,500 to spend in store or online in our monthly competition for only £2 per entry. Get everything you need at hobbymounts.co.uk.
Hi, I'm Peter Giddins from Biffa Cornwall. We are passionate about keeping Cornwall clean and tidy with our highly rated waste collection service. Biffa Cornwall offer full county coverage for all waste streams. Supporting organisations such as the Cornish Pirates and Children's Hospice South West is a key focus for our business. To discuss your current requirements, we would love to hear from you.
Welcome back to part 2. We just have a little joke there off set, where it's all happening here for our final episode. Coming up now, we have a very good friend of the Cornwall channel, Mr. Malcolm Bell, coming on to the show. Now, that man is full of knowledge. When you're talking about visiting Cornwall, this is the man.
He's the man to go to, isn't he? He knows everything that's going on. We'll take a little look back on how the year's been as well. We've had quite an interesting year here in Cornwall. Some weird weather, as you can probably hear as well. We've got a bit of a rainstorm going as well.
On a little tin shed roof here on our shed.
Indeed, but he's got a good insight into some things to look at in 2019, isn't he?
Indeed, and he's been very supportive of the Cornwall channel as well, both on Sky and online, so a big thank you to Malcolm for that.
Indeed.
So it was an obvious choice for the official tourist board for Cornwall to come on to the show. So this is our interview we had with Malcolm just a few days ago. Well, we're joined on the show now with none other than Malcolm Bell, the head of Visit Cornwall. Welcome.
Welcome.
It's been a long time coming to get you in the studio. I'm glad you made it. Thank you very much.
Delighted to be here.
And thank you for your support. Malcolm, it's been a great year, I think, for you, 2018. Reflecting for you.
Yes, it was a roller coaster year. I'm glad to say more ups and downs, but obviously we started with a very wet winter. Then we had the beast from the east just before Easter. And then I thought, as everybody was trying to get quite depressed, along came 10 plus weeks of glorious sunshine.
Yes.
And one of the most amazing summers I've known. And then we still carried on into back into July and August with a good summer, just a more normal summer. And the autumn's played out well. It's been quite a dry autumn. So I think, apart from maybe those who went for a February or March break,
yes,
everybody else has had a great holiday, and it's been very busy.
Well, we love hearing from people, all our viewers that watch us on Sky and online. And of course, we don't have just people watching us in Cornwall. We have the people throughout UK and Europe and obviously around the world on YouTube and Facebook. And we love to hear people's stories of where they come from, where their connections are with people. I mean, Cornwall as a brand, I've said this to you before, it's just huge, isn't it?
It is. I mean, most people don't realise that Cornwall is actually the only county that actually has its own name in 28 overseas countries.
There you go.
So it's well known, that's well known, because we're the heart of the tin industry, and tin was needed mainly across Europe. But then, you know, I was over in Chicago recently talking to journalists, and obviously there's a lot of diaspora of Cornish miners up in Wisconsin, and actually one guy challenged me to a game of euchre, and for those who don't know, euchre's a Cornish card game. Normally you're beaten by people in their 80s cheating like mad.
So true.
But we had this game of euchre at the end of the pressing. They knew about pasties, they knew about Cornwall. It's got a very strong name. Some people sometimes don't quite know where it is, but certainly its identity is strong.
We're going to be playing out a video very shortly of an aerial video, really, of Cornwall that you had done a few years ago now, is it?
It is, it's about 6 years ago.
Yeah. And it's just remarkable how beautiful Cornwall is anyway, but when you see it from the air, it's just a totally different perspective, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I think the special thing about Cornwall is it's got an amazing coastline, you know, 422 miles, 400 beaches of coves, and we're famous for that. But we've got more gardens than any other county in terms of spectacular gardens, country houses, plenty of arts and music and festival, quite a live music scene down here.
Yeah.
So it's not just a pretty frame. It's got an amazing contents in the picture as well.
Absolutely. And next year, 2019, we're getting close. We're obviously all Christmas right up here in the studio. But next year, 2019, people are starting planning their holidays to Cornwall and visiting. What sort of things can they look out for next year that's going to be going on, do you think?
Well, I think the one lesson from this year is we did have quite a few people disappointed when they were trying to get down in the weather, and when the weather was good. And I think next year, particularly with Brexit and a few other ones, probably this year, I know I'm the tourist board, but I would say this year, book earlier. get in there, get your best slots, because obviously the earlier you book, the better you'll get. And there's some good deals that businesses will do now for an early booking. So although it's always easy to book late, start doing some negotiation now. You'd be surprised how interested people are in getting your bookings. But what we've got happening next year is, history-wise, it's the 75th anniversary of D-Day, and there are tens of thousands of GIs here, and places like Treba will be doing stuff on the Foul River. There was plenty of exercise, plus actually all around St Austell area. There are plenty of Americans here that were here, and then suddenly they're all gone. And I think for many people, not only locals, but lots of people over from America, to sort of look at that and celebrate that, because it was their grandparents who, some of them are still alive, but certainly their parents and grandparents. The other exciting thing, which sounds funny because it's a new thing at Tintagel, so how can a historic site have anything new? And Tintagel's an amazing sort of story around it, because although it's linked to the Arthurian legend, it was actually built, the castle was actually built by Richard, who was an incredibly rich, he's probably one of the 5th richest men in Europe at the time. So this Cornishman built it in honour of Arthur. So he was a sort of Bill Gates of his time, more money, and just wanted to go for it. But actually, anybody who's been to Tintagel will know that there's a lot of steps to get up to the castle. Well, they never actually used to exist. There was a narrow ridge of land where people used to walk across. So for the last several hundred years, people haven't been able to access it the way they would have done. So English Heritage are now building a spectacular bridge, so that you'll be able to cross the way that the knights and the merchants and everybody else crossed, and that'll be opening in early summer. So for those who haven't been to Tintagel for a while, it's worth a visit anyway, but from next year it'll be spectacular. And we know it's going to be popular, so we've been working with English Heritage, so you'll be able to buy a ticket ahead of time to make sure you can get there and get across and see everything. So they're getting sort of a modern bridge into a historic setting and using technology to help you make sure you have a great visit.
Oh, fantastic. Well, make sure if you go to that bridge to send us one of your photos or something, and we can play it out on the show. That would be superb. Now, let's talk about filming in Cornwall. That's continued this year. I believe Poldark's been down here again, and you know, it's a choice of many filmmaker, Cornwall, as a set, isn't it?
There is, and going back to Tintagel, there's a film out in February half term, called The Kid That Would Be King, and it's a sort of Harry Potter type story. It's about a schoolboy in the modern era being protecting and standing up for people in London, and he finds a sword, and the sword is obviously Excalibur. Then he has to get some friends around him, and they go on a quest which includes coming down to Bodmin Moor, to Tintagel, to fight Morwenna, who's Arthur's sister that was quite evil. It's also quite dark in places. It's a kids' film. But it's an amazing film, and obviously you see Bodmin Moor, you see obviously Tintagel, and you see the coast. So there's one for February half term, and then to do it, and we're looking at where we might do a quest next year, where kids in Cornwall and kids who come to Cornwall can actually do the quest for the sword. So watch that space for a whole thing that'll be running all through the summer, using technology as well. So we're going to go and hunt down the clues and suddenly try to find Excalibur. And you don't have to dig up the ground, there will be an easy way of doing it. So that's one film. Poldark will be back with Series 5. Doc Martin is still going.
I know, and we've just behind you the picture. Martin Clunes did give us an interview, and he came on the show. And
the production team, as well as Martin, got the Outstanding Contribution to Tourism Award at our recent Tourism Awards, because it's been 15 years of exposure. We've had visitors from all around the world. We've even had the Mumbai Doc Martin Appreciation Society turn up in Port Isaac, which gave them a bit of a shock. And no doubt there'll be more films coming. We've still got the resonance of things like Wycliffe that's on TV, and other things that rattle around on those channels that do actually keep people occupied during the day and night.
It is superb. And as I always say here on the Cornwall channel, we'd love to see all of your comments. Keep them coming in on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, any of those platforms. We'd love to read them all. And just to finish up, Malcolm, and I won't hold you to this because we didn't plan this, but how many people come to Cornwall on average each year, would you say?
I know the figures. It's 4.5 million. So there's half a million local people. We have 4.5 million people coming. And in any day in August, that'll mean an extra 200,000 people staying here every night.
There you go.
But with 400 beaches and 400 miles of coast and lots of other things to do, we can take 200,000 people comfortably and then let them have a great time and enjoy Cornwall with us.
Our thanks to Malcolm Bell from Visit Cornwall there for updating us what to expect in 2019 and looking back on a fantastic 2018.
Indeed. So coming up next is a little look at some of the times we don't get it all right. I nearly screwed up then, actually. Some of the times we don't get it right. This is a little reel of our bloopers. Take a look at these.
Are we rolling?
Good evening and welcome to the Water... Did I say good evening? Do I say good evening?
Something else.
Grayson Matthews. Look at that. Jinx, make a wish. That was pretty crazy. As always, we'd love to hear from you. And of course, you can now watch on a show as we're streaming here on, not streaming, on Sky.
Not a load of people... You can't put that in.
No, and I'm not even that old. I keep saying that. Here as old as time. True. I won't go there. And we love to see all your comments coming in on our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter. I'm so sorry.
Back from the cocktails.
Yeah.
They were all dressed up in their pantomime. Nope. Cut. We can mention it. It's just a formal move. We love to read them.
I don't know what I'm doing there.
No, it looks good.
Hey? We're going to have an ad break. We'll be right back.
Don't get it right all the time, do we?
I tell you what, you got to laugh, haven't you? You got to laugh. They are good times from the show. So there we are. Well, that's the end of our first series back on Sky. 13 episodes. Well, technically 12 because we had to repeat one.
Yeah,
Mr. Spinks wasn't very well.
That's not bad going.
That's not bad going for a very small team.
I know. The first crack at it.
Yeah, very, very good. Now, what you need to do is to keep an eye out on our social media because it looks like we are going to be staying on TV.
Indeed.
In fact, we could be moving to another channel from the 4th of January. You should be able to find us on a channel called Showcase, which is channel 192 on Sky and on FreeSat channel 161. So keep an eye out. 4th of January, the same time, 7 p.m. we should be moving to Showcase.
It's been emotional.
It has.
I've enjoyed every second.
Yes, thank you to everyone who's taken part. All our sponsors, the ad breaks, everyone, Jake, everyone who's played a part in this show. Thank you so much. Have a great new year.
See you soon.
This programme has been in part funded by Visit Cornwall.
We provide quality training and health and safety consultancy services to the people of Cornwall and the South West. We support individuals and organisations to be the best they possibly can be. Cornwall Training and Consultancy, to learn, grow and succeed.
For great food, friendly accommodation and delicious local ales, come to the Griffin Inn in Newquay. Our Cornish restaurant and bar menu offers a traditional menu incorporating homemade dishes using fresh local produce wherever possible. Not forgetting our very popular Sunday carvery and sizzling steak nights. It is the ideal place to stay for business, a holiday or a short break in Cornwall. Visiting Cornwall? Think the Griffin Inn Newquay. Let Sequoia support you to manage your employees so you can focus on what matters in your business, both personally and professionally. We can take the mystery out of employment law and provide easy to understand solutions for businesses to help get the best out of their employees, whilst being compliant with the law. We are a safe pair of hands when you need it most. Visit sequoia.com.